Welcome back, everybody. This is part 5 of the Necron 8th Edition Codex review by Wargamer Shawn. Thanks for tuning in. Here's our new Codex. Hopefully you tuned into the previous ones, and if you have not, please consider subscribing to my channel. And also check out Combat Phase. It's a podcast that me and my friend Kenny do every week. We took this week off because Kenny went to Adepticon on Wednesday. I'm hoping to go Saturday, so there wasn't one this week. Anyway, let's get into part 5. We're going to cover the fast attack section today. We're going to jump right in with Canoptic Wraiths. They are a 12-inch move, which is awesome. Weapon skill skill 3, strength 6, toughness 5, 3 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 10, 4+ save. They contain 3 wraiths and can have up to 3 more. They have vicious claws, which is melee, strength of the user, so strength 6, -2 AP and 2 damage, which is good. It's solid. They can any model can take a particle caster, transdimensional beamer, or whip coils. Whip coils basically are strength user, -2 AP, 2 damage, but if the bearer is slain in the fight phase before they fight, then leave the model there, and they get, when they're chosen to fight, they can still fight before they're gone. So it's a way for them to kind of, because initiative is not an issue anymore in this edition, it's a way for them to be able to swing even if they die. The transdimensional beamer is 12-inch range, heavy 3, strength 4, AP -3, 1 damage. Each time you roll a wound roll of 6 for this weapon, the target suffers a mortal wound in addition to any other damage. I'm not sure why that's heavy 3, and it's only strength 4. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I'm not a super big fan of it. I guess it has its purposes, but honestly, I want my wraiths to get into close combat and not really worry about them shooting too much. The particle caster is a 12-inch pistol, so potentially you could argue you could use that even in close combat. It's strength 6, AP dash or nothing, and damage 1. Honestly, I think they're pretty good just either naked or potentially with whip coils, although the whip coils aren't the auto take that they used to be. They have a 3-up invulnerable save, and they can move across models and terrain as if they were not there. Models in this unit can shoot and charge even if they fell back this turn. So one could argue excuse me, that it's good to have the shooting. I still think it's nice for them to be able to fall back and potentially charge another unit, but I'm still not sold on the shooting. That's just me. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. I know some people that have used like an occasional like particle caster or something in previous editions units, but I've just never been a big fan of them. The next unit is Canoptic Scarabs. They have a 10-inch movement, weapon skill of 4+. Ballistic skill is just dash. Strength 3, toughness 3, 3 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 10, and a 6-up save. So not very much of a save, but they're still pretty good. The unit contains 3 scarab swarms. In addition, you can have up to 6 more scarab swarms, so a total of 9. They have feeder mandibles, which are melees. They're strength of the user, so strength 3. AP nothing, damage 1. But if the target's toughness is higher than the attack's strength, which strength 3, so a lot of times it's going to be the case, they always wound on a 5-up. So that's really nice because let's say you're attacking something that's strength, or toughness 8, which is more than double your strength. Instead of hitting on 6s, they're always wounding on 5s. And the command point where you can use one to just auto die and cause D3 mortal wounds is good too. So I think Scarabs still have a really good place, and they're a good screen unit as well, and they're fast, which Necrons need. So I still really like the Scarabs. I'm planning on using them. I've always liked Scarabs. Tomb Blades, they're still good. They're really fast now. They move 14 inches, and they have a weapon skill of 3, strength 4, toughness 5 because they're bikes, 2 wounds now, and 1 attack, leadership 10, 4-up save. They come with 3 Tomb Blades, but you can have up to 6 additional ones, so 9 basically total. They are equipped with 2 Gauss Blasters, which Gauss Blasters rapid fire 1, strength 5, -2 AP, 1 damage, 24-inch range. So they have a minimum of 2 shots each, but potentially 4 at half range. They can have the 2 Tesla carbines or particle beamer. The particle beamer is 24-inch range, assault 3, strength 6, AP nothing, 1 damage, or Tesla carbine, which is assault 2, 24-inch range, strength 5, AP nothing, 1 damage, but each roll of a hit of 6 gives 3 hits instead of 1. So there's definitely argument for Tesla, although I still think I'm probably going to be playing the Gauss Blasters. Any model can take shield veins, any model can take a nebula scope or a shadow loom. They have reanimation protocols. The invasion engrams, your opponent must subtract 1 from the hit rolls that target this unit in the shooting phase. So they're hard to hit shooting, in addition that they're fast. They're -1 to hit, which is nice. The model with shield veins can have a 3-up save, which I think is kind of worth the points. And the shadow loom, the model with a shadow loom has a 5-up invulnerable save, or you can put on a nebula scope, which the models do not receive cover, the benefit of cover if the model has one. Now, I kind of like the nebula scope now because, well, for depending on what you're doing. If you're running the Gauss Blaster, I think the nebula scope is worth it because -2 AP and ignoring cover is a big deal. Because there are a few things that benefit from cover, have additional cover in cover. Like Rangers was +2 instead of +1. Ignoring that is really big. And they have a 5-up save, so the AP -2 is just going to go through their armor. So I think the nebula scope is really worth it on the Gauss Blasters. Now the Tesla carbine or the particle beamer, you could argue maybe the shadow loom's better to have a 5-up invuln save. I like an invuln save, but a 5-up, I don't know if I'm sold on paying the points for that. I kind of like the nebula scope with the Gauss Blaster, or just not run either one of those. I think the shield veins are definitely worth it, though. Last for the fast attack is the destroyers. Another very, I love that unit. It has 1 destroyer, but you can have up to 5 additional ones. And if the unit contains 3 models, a heavy destroyer can take the place of a destroyer. Each destroyer is armed with a Gauss cannon, and a heavy destroyer is armed with a heavy Gauss cannon. They move 10 inches. They have weapon skill 3, strength of 4, toughness 5, 3 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 10, 3-up save. And they're just a solid unit, and they're fast. And their reanimation protocols, hardwired hatred. They get to reroll hit rolls of 1 for this unit, which is great. They're only missing on 2s. Well, they have a better chance of hitting with a 1, so it's kind of like a poor man's 2. A repulsor platform means that they can fire heavy weapons without suffering the penalty for hits, which is awesome, which makes these guys just really great. If you have a Destroyer Lord with them, they're rerolling 1s to wound, too. The Gauss cannon is 24-inch range, heavy 3, strength 6, -3 AP, D3 damage. That's really solid, and that's wounding a lot of things, even light vehicles, pretty decently. The heavy Gauss cannon is 36-inch range, heavy 1, strength 9, AP -4, D6 damage. I'm still not sure how I feel. I guess it depends on how many points I have or what units I'm running. But I kind of like having the heavy destroyers as their own unit, and then the destroyers as their own unit. But now that everything can split fire, I suppose there's argument to have it in there. I guess it doesn't ultimately matter as much in this edition, but I still kind of like, I guess I'm kind of a purist, I like them separate. So, and they're a heavy support slot. But I think destroyers are solid. Even the regular Gauss cannons are amazing. So, so we have quite a few heavy support choices, and I am going to just do the Lord of War options quick, and I'm going to put them in with the fast attack because they only have 4 slots. So we're going to cover the Lord of Wars right now. The Obelisk is 6 weapon skill, strength 8, toughness 8, 24 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 10, a 3+ save. With 13 to 24 wounds, they move 8 inches. They have a 3-up ballistic skill and a gravity pulse of range of 18 inches. 7 to 12 wounds, 6-inch movement, 4 ballistic skill, and 12-inch gravity pulse. 1 to 6 wounds is 4-inch movement, ballistic skill of 5, and 6-inch gravity pulse. They have 4 Tesla spheres, so there's assault 5 times 4, that's 20 shots. Strength 7, AP 0 with 1 damage, but every 6 you get 3 hits instead of 1. This thing's going to pump out shots, and Strength 7 is good, but the gravity pulse is awesome too, because at the start of your shooting phase, roll a d6 for each enemy unit that can fly. It used to just be flyers. Now it's any unit that can fly. That's pretty powerful because a lot of things have fly. And if you're within the distance that's specified in the damage table above, roll a d6. On a roll of a 6 on the d6, they suffer d3 mortal wounds. So I think this is a good Lord of War. Is it super great, super competitive? Maybe not, but I still think it's good. If it gets to 0 wounds on a 6, it explodes with 2d6 range and suffers d6 mortal wounds. So it blows up pretty spectacularly. Might be worth using command point to not make it, unless you're close to something you want it to blow up. The hovering sentinel, during deployment, you can set it in the upper atmosphere. At the end of your movement phase, the obelisk can plummet to the battlefield and be set up anywhere on the battlefield that's more than 12 inches away from an enemy model. So I think it's a solid unit. It doesn't do the transforming thing where you could give it an invuln, but it couldn't shoot, and then once it kind of converts, it can shoot, but doesn't have an invuln. That's kind of just gone now, and which honestly I think is fine. I still think this is a solid unit. I have one of these. I like them. I didn't build the Tesseract Vault. I just kind of used the little dude. So I really like the obelisk, to be honest. The Tesseract Vault is the other Lord of War choice. Weapon skill 6. Strength is 8. It's only toughness 7, so it's 1 less toughness. But it has 28 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 10, 3 plus save. So 15 to 28 wounds. It moves 8 inches, ballistic skill 3. And then powers of Satan, it has 3 powers of Satan. 8 to 14, 6-inch move, ballistic skill 4, and 2 powers. 1 to 7 wounds, 4-inch movement, ballistic skill 5, and 1 power of the Satan. It has 4 Tesla spheres. So it's going to have the same shooting as the obelisk, and then it has living metal, just like the obelisk. Powers Satan, so basically this Satan knows 4 powers, and it can use a number of powers depending on where it's at wound-wise. And the nice thing with the Satan in here is that he usually has the powers go off at an easier success rate with the Tesseract Vault, which is nice, and they're usually more powerful. This model does have a 4-up invulnerable save. And then if it does get to 0 wounds on a 4-up, the Transcendent Satan Contain takes Vengeance, and each unit within 2d6 inches takes d6 mortal wounds. So it's, don't have it close when it blows up. So that's the Lord of Wars and the Fast Attack for the Necrons in 8th edition. We'll be back in part 6, and we'll cover the heavy support choices and the one last flyer, which is a Doom Scythe. Hopefully you'll join us then, and take care and keep on wargaming, guys.
Goodbye, you sexy motherfucker.